Hello, and welcome back to another development video. These last few months have been quite intensive, but there hasn't been a whole lot of new features for me to talk about. For example, when working on creating the polished isles, there is of course the ship mechanic, the wraith crystals, the shops, and so forth. But there aren't any new mechanics being created. They're just the old mechanics that I've been plugging into proper worlds and making sure that these pre-made features that worked great in isolation work now in a larger frame. Then tweaking it so that it runs coherently so it feels like you aren't jumping from one mechanic to the next, but rather one full experience. There are, however, 3 new features that I've added that are worth talking about. The largest would be the glossary. The glossary offers a very quick and intuitive way for when you are playing the game and say, hey, I don't know how this thing works, and I just want to read a little thing that tells me how to do it, rather than fiddling around. So, if I open up the system menu and click the glossary, I'm given a whole lot of visual images. For example, I can see the exclamation mark, the M, the crown, and the $sign that corresponds with the symbols often above special NPCs. And let's say I don't know what those mean, or I don't quite get how it works, I can click on it and get a full breakdown. Or if I'm confused about the highlighting around objects, I can click the apple with the different colored outlines, and this also explains in detail how the theft mechanic works. I also have detailed breakdowns on how the luck mechanic works, how the hub world, 4 worlds, and RNG forest are set up, and some other stuff that just reiterates what I've said in past devlogs. The glossary provides a nice visual way of clicking on an object that you saw somewhere else in the game and getting a little write-up that tells you how it works. The other feature that I've added is a full meter, which prevents you from mass eating to stay alive in a really intense fight. Now, when you eat, a small meter appears underneath your secondary attack, and if it fills up all the way, that host cannot eat anymore until the meter fully disappears. This full meter is tied to the host, not the player, so you can switch around and keep eating. It takes a lot of food to get full, and you will only really get completely filled up if you are quickly eating in, let's say, a boss fight or something where you're losing health really fast and always open up your menu to eat. The last new feature I've added is a new way to lure away NPCs. Each world has objects that can lure away people. For example, in the city, I talked about before that there are stop signs, and if you knock them over, that will create a distraction, causing people to walk over towards the noise, giving you a chance to go and steal something or interact with an object that's normally protected. Items like these exist in all 4 of the worlds, but I wanted to add another way, and I found my answer. The Charm Special. Charms, which originally just neutralized hostile NPCs, now lures neutral NPCs. If I use it outside this tavern here, you can see the music notes above their head as they walk towards the charm, and then they come back to their original spot. And this offers a great way for you to lure people farther and farther away if you just kind of want to amass a whole bunch of people somewhere for fun. I don't know. But now you have that option. And if you say, hey, I don't know what these symbols above the head mean or how they work, guess what? You can find it in the glossary. The game never forces you to use the glossary, so players can figure it out on their own if they prefer it, or can do a quick little reading. Beyond these 3 features though, it has mostly just been creating each of these mechanics to run smoothly, as well as making the worlds feel natural, which includes making sure that if you solve a quest in a different way, the dialogue reflects that rather than it feeling like there was a specific way, or making sure that when you enter a building, people are facing the right way, right? If you go into a tavern, everyone shouldn't just turn to look at you like you're in some kind of Western film, people are sitting and chatting with each other. The game should have the illusion that the world doesn't revolve around you, that these NPCs have lives outside of interacting with the player. When entering somewhere like the police station, of course, the police near the front should turn to look at you, because that's usually what happens when you enter into a station or enter into a store, right? The person running the store should turn to look at you, but people just browsing shouldn't turn to look at you because they aren't the ones selling you stuff. And these little things are time consuming, but helps make the overall experience more immersive. Anyways, if I look at my list of things needed before beta, it's all crossed off, meaning that I can technically beat the game now, but it is far from a flawless experience. However, I can confidently call this game beta now rather than alpha after almost a full 3 years of working on this game. But you might be wondering, what does beta mean for this game and for future devlogs? Well, after taking a bit of a break so that the game feels fresh, I will through the game a couple times, trying out different orders and paths to see if anything feels out of place. And then after I feel like, okay, I've fixed most of these noticeable errors and I followed all the paths that I can think of, then I'll open it up a bit wider to some beta testers so they can go through and see if they come across any bugs or anything that feels inorganic to them. And then finally, it will be available to the public to play. I don't know how long that will take, but I'm hoping the end of 2024, I will have something that I can confidently say, this game is done, and it will be a great experience to be playing. I hope it won't be a full year of just polishing, and that I'll be done before then, but I don't have a fixed date in mind. I will be sure to post updates as time goes on into 2024, and maybe even a formal trailer to post here. These last few years have been awesome, and it has been a pleasure getting to meet people on here, both other developers and people who thought the game looked interesting and left a comment or sent me a message. So thank you to those of you who have been watching and for making my last few years here such a good time. And whatever video I post following this one, whether that is some new updates, trailers, or maybe running through the game itself, I'm excited to share it with all of you. As always, thank you for watching, Happy New Year, and have a great day.